Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
What is up, everybody? My name is Advance, and this is Advanced Sports Talk. So, week 12 down. We're now in week 13. My Buccaneers is on a bye, but I'm fair and impartial. You still get me this week. So, I'm going to break down the playoff picture, in the video that I promised yesterday. So, breakdown video will still be coming this week. You won't have to worry about hearing me rant about what the Buccaneers could or could not have done. Believe me, that's a lot of stress on my heart. That's I'm an older guy, so worry about keeping my blood pressure down. We're gonna get into this playoff bracket. So I'm gonna start with the AFC first. So still undefeated are the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're in the number one slot. They're the number one slot, top overall. I'm starting with the division leaders first. So then I'll get into the wild card and then potential playoff positions or whatever. So now we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, to my surprise, they are thoroughly performing great. And by thoroughly, I mean, I'm talking about just their record. There was some games where they was a little bit shaky in. They might have gotten exposed. They might have gotten exposed, but they still came out with the victory, narrowly. But, like I always say on this channel, as quoted by the famous Dominic Toretto, whether it's by an inch or by a mile, winning is winning. So, Pittsburgh Steelers are still undefeated at 11-0, topping their division, followed closely by the Kansas City Chiefs, who also lead in their division. I'm sorry, topping the conference. Steelers are topping the conference. Kansas City Chiefs are close behind at 10-1. Their only loss being to the Las Vegas Raiders. I'll say this. If the Raiders don't make the playoffs, they can be proud of that performance. They were the only team that knocked off the Kansas City Chiefs. I would have liked for the Buccaneers to be the second, but I'm not going to get into that because I made y'all a promise. Third is the Tennessee Titans at 8-3. Fourth is the Buffalo Bills, also at 8-3. And that's surprising because who would have thought it would have taken Tom Brady to leave the division for the Buffalo Bills to come to prominence? Now, the Bills been doing their thing this year. Ever since they added Stephon Diggs, they've been firing on all cylinders. Wild card teams for the AFC. The Cleveland Browns in the top wild card slot. I think that would be seed 5. The Miami Dolphins in seed 6. And the Indianapolis Colts in the 7th seed, the newly created 7th seed. Oh man, first off, Cleveland and Miami, when was the last time you expected them to make the playoffs? Wow. They could have done it back with the, if Eric Mangini back in 2010, if he would have had another year, I think he would have pulled that team together. But we all know what happened then. Because that was the team where they only had 5 wins, but all the wins that they had were against quality opponents. They beat the Patriots, they beat the Steelers, they beat the Ravens, they beat the Saints. There's a 5th team in there. I can't remember which one it was. It'll come back to me. But fact of the matter is that the Browns have always been close. They've always, been a trip and a fall away from actually making the playoffs and doing some real damage in the AFC. On paper, I know they can do it because in my Madden franchise, they won the Super Bowl 2 years in a row. It would have been 3 if if it wasn't for a certain player one. So the Browns are 8-3. The Dolphins are 7-4. The Colts are 7-4 as well. So these are the teams that are in the hunt right now. So we got the Las Vegas Raiders holding that top spot in the hunt. They're 6-5, who are tied with the Ravens at 6-5. Ravens, man, can't imagine how many people are having a hard time with that back to back. Then we got the New England Patriots at 5-6. So depending on how these last 4 games go, they could make it in. I'm gonna go and analyze the schedule of the top 3 teams that are in the hunt. Cause hold up, so you got the Patriots, then you got the Broncos at 4-7, Houston Texans at 4-7, Chargers at 3-8. So like it is wide open for anybody really. We won't have any real locked in spots until like maybe 2 weeks from now. So just looking at the Raiders, so they got the Jets this week. The Colts, that's also winnable depending on Phillip Rivers. The Colts depending on Phillip Rivers, but the Colts also have a defense too. So Derek Carr might have a little bit of trouble. But you know, as long as he's got like Darren Waller and those other guys to lean on, it should be fine. But yeah, Colts is not that's not going to be an easy game for them. The Chargers defense, I've said earlier in weeks past, I think like week 1, the Chargers defense, like, the defensive stats to me were identical to the Colts. So, and I know they don't have Desmond King anymore, but I don't know. It could the Chargers, that could also be a difficult game for them too, because like even if the defense isn't up to par, yeah, Justin Herbert is a beast. So, then you got the Miami Dolphins. That could go either ways because Miami has been an anomaly this year. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, if that's actually a big game, because if they can manage to tie with Miami and beat them, they could get that spot. They can get their spot in the playoffs. And then they got the Broncos last game of the season. So that's just whether or not the Raiders want to win, So, all right, so now looking at my team, Hometown Pride. All right, so we got 6-5. They 6-5. Last 5 games of the season, they just narrowly lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tuesday, they had the Dallas Cowboys. Oh man. Sorry. Jokes. Then they got the Cleveland Browns. It's hard to beat a team twice. It's hard to sweep a team. So if they beat Cleveland and tie with them, just like with the Raiders, Baltimore can take that spot, that playoff spot from Cleveland, provided nobody else can knock Cleveland out. Then they got the Jacksonville Jaguars. That's a win. The New York Giants, if they apply themselves, they can win that game. And then they got the Cincinnati Bengals at the end of the season. So that's a win. So I got 3 out of 5 games with maybe 2 of them being contested. And all of this is, dependent on whether or not, the Ravens starters are back. Because, like, how COVID hit them was ridiculous. All right, so now we're going to go into the New England Patriots. So the Patriots have been a bit of an anomaly this year as well. Strictly because, like, it's just different seeing them without Tom Brady and, seeing them with Cam Newton. And I'll say for the games that Cam Newton was effective, he brought like a whole new energy and vibe to the Patriots offense. So this week, so they got the LA Chargers. It's a very winnable game, but like I said before, in the last, like I said about the last team on like I said about the Raiders, Justin Herbert is a beast. You know, ever since he took over that starting job, I think he maybe only had like 2 games where he didn't perform. But hey, you're allowed to have bad games. But you know, for the Chargers that have the record that they have, Justin Herbert's been playing impressive. Then we got the LA Rams. The Rams have a pretty solid team. Oh man, like they got a bit of a gauntlet. The Chargers, the Rams. Hold up, they play the Chargers and the Rams back to back in LA. Oh shit, the Patriots might as well just stay there. All right, so then they got Miami. Then they got Buffalo. And again, like these are, with Tom Brady leaving the AFC East, you know, that opened a lot of crap up. You know, it opened a lot of shit up. So like all the quality of the teams now are more even, except the Jets. But yeah, Buffalo and Miami came up, especially since Miami added Tua, and their defense has been performing. Even though last year they traded Micah Fitzpatrick to the Steelers. Josh Allen up in Buffalo, man. I like how the Patriots schedule is. Their last 3 games is all division opponents. So they could potentially tie and take Buffalo's spot, or they could get in. Like yeah, it's wide open. I'm gonna have to do these videos weekly because there's so much. Like playoff picture shifts like sand, so you never know. All right, so now moving on to the NFC. So in the top spot, number 1 spot, we have the New Orleans Saints at 9-2. The Seattle Seahawks in number 2 at 8-3. The Green Bay Packers at 8-3. The New York Giants at 4-7. Wild card positions, we got the LA Rams at 7-4. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 7-5. The Arizona Cardinals at 6-5. Currently in the hunt, Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears, San Francisco 49ers, all at 5-6. Then you have the Detroit Lions, the Washington football team, the team formerly known as the Washington Redskins, and the Atlanta Falcons, all at 4-7. Carolina Panthers at 4-8, Philadelphia Eagles at 3-7-1, and the Dallas Cowboys at 3-8. Getting into this, I'm gonna look at the top 3 teams, obviously, that's in the hunt. So the Minnesota Vikings, we got Jacksonville Jaguars this week. Then they play my Buccaneers. Then they play the Bears. Then the Saints, and then the Lions. So, Jacksonville, they can win that game. Buccaneers, I'm rooting for my team regardless. So, I think we're going to win. But, as has been proven, it depends on whatever side of the bed the Buccaneers wake up on. But, since they got to win out, since it's clear that they have to win out to keep their spot, or just to make sure that they keep that spot, we'll see. The Bears, I don't know, Trubisky is back, but Bears defense, man, yeah, the Bears defense is, yeah, if that pass rush can get to Cousins, then yeah, they're gonna have some problems. So I'm calling it now. I'm predicting a low-scoring game in that game. New Orleans Saints, you might as well just chalk that up as an L. Yeah. And the Detroit Lions, that could be a win. But with these division matchups, you never know. That's an NFC North matchup. So yeah, moving into the Bears. So yeah, if Minnesota actually beats them, or if either of these teams beat each other, they could knock each other down a rung on the ladder, or maybe down several rungs, depending on who wins and loses this week. All right, so Chicago They have the Detroit Lions. They got the Houston Texans, Minnesota Vikings, Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Green Bay Packers. Once again, like I said, division matchup, it's hard to tell. But I'm gonna go with I'm gonna give them a win on Detroit. Like, Stafford can generate an offense, but the main factor is the Bears' defense. Khalil Mack is a beast. And John Gruden, I'll say till this day, people disagree with me, argue with me, like, no, he knows what he's doing. No, John Gruden is a fool for getting rid of Khalil Mack. Like, man. And you got the Houston Texans. That really depends on what side of the bed the Texans wake up on. The Texans have improved a lot since they fired Bill O'Brien, but there's a lot of factors that got to play into that. And, Will Fuller is suspended now, so I don't know how many games he's going to be gone, but I know he's suspended this week because he's not playing. Minnesota Vikings, that's going to be the game. That's going to be the game that determines it. Jacksonville Jaguars, that could be a close game. I'll give it to Chicago, though, in that one. And then they got the Green Bay Packers at the end of the season. So they could just decide to play them hard as fuck. But I don't know. We'll see. Alright, so San Francisco 49ers. So next 5 games. We got Buffalo Bills this week. That's going to be an uphill battle for them. Washington football team. As long as they can manage that front 4, they should be okay. Dallas Cowboys, Arizona Cardinals, and at the end of the season, the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm thinking maybe like 2-3. They could win 2 out of these 3 games. Because Buffalo's offense is something serious. I just talked about it with Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. Yeah, the games that's gonna be a real kicker for them is the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Because ever since, just like how with the Bills, how they sprang to life when they got Stephon Diggs, the Cardinals sprang to life when they got DeAndre Hopkins. And DeAndre Hopkins is top 3 receiver. I'm just saying. And then with all the weapons that Seattle has, they're gonna have the 49ers gonna have a difficult time dealing with them. Oh, and Josh Gordon just got reinstated. So now Russell Wilson has his pick of 3 targets. So he's got DK Metcalf, who's tearing it up. Tyler Lockett, who took a step back this year. He was the number 1. DK was the number 2. And then he took a step back. And now he's got Josh Gordon. I don't know what role Josh Gordon is going to play in these last 5 weeks, but we'll see. But yeah, so San Francisco, 2 out of 3 games I got them winning. And I know Nick Mullins was doing his best to hold it together ever since Jimmy G went down, but I mean, you just gotta cut your losses, man. Alright, so for the AFC, if it ended today, we got the Steelers in the top spot. They got the bye. Kansas City Chiefs would face off against the Indianapolis Colts. That would be a battle. Yeah, then you got the Tennessee Titans versus the Miami Dolphins. Then you got the Buffalo Bills versus the Cleveland Browns. And man, that's crazy because regardless of who faces who, we got 3 underdog teams in the playoffs right now, man. It's Buffalo, Cleveland, and Miami, because nobody expects them to make it. Yeah, but I don't know, the way it is going now, I would think the Chiefs would beat the Colts. I think the Titans would beat the Dolphins. As hard as they fought to get to the playoffs, I think that would pretty much be where they would end at. And the Bills versus the Browns. I don't know, it's such an anomaly. It's the Browns getting their own way too much. So I had to call it for Buffalo. I think that would be it. Yeah, so all the playoff teams, I think all the wild card teams would get knocked out. So now for the NFC, if it ended today, the New Orleans Saints would have the bye. They got the top seed in the NFC. Then it would be Seattle versus Arizona, Green Bay versus Tampa Bay, Battle of the Bay again, New York Giants versus the LA Rams. So Seahawks and the Cardinals. That's a battle because they all got they got weapons. They got weapons on both sides. On both sides, they got weapons. So it's let me give it to Arizona. I think Cardinals would beat the Seahawks. Yeah, because the Seahawks just they allow too many points. So I think, even though I know that Russell Wilson is capable, especially with the weapons that he has, but I think Arizona can overcome that. Plus, their defense knows how to generate turnovers. And the Seattle defense is a long way away from those Legion of Boom days. The Packers versus the Buccaneers. I don't even know why I even mention that. I'm going for the Buccaneers regardless. One, because we thoroughly defeated the Green Bay Packers earlier this season. Now, it's hard to beat a team twice, just like I said earlier. So, who's to say that the Packers didn't adjust to whatever the Buccaneers did back then? Plus, on top of that, we seem to be in a difficult stage right now, where we lost 2 in a row. We're having difficulty getting the game started, and with Aaron Rodgers, you can't play around with him because you gotta keep pace with Aaron Rodgers because he's got a beast of a running back who can not only run over you, but he can run the clock out. So yeah. So it's going to be difficult for our defense to get those stops that we need if we're playing from behind. Now, with that being said, we do excellent against the run. Excellent. But I would just prefer to just not be in that position to begin with. Let's just take Aaron Jones completely out of the game, force Aaron Rodgers to throw the ball. That's assuming that's the playoff picture. The New York Giants versus the LA Rams. Yeah, I'm gonna give it to the Rams because I know the Giants have performed the best in their division. Their division is just a pawn compared to the C, which is the NFC. Alright, so that was my playoff breakdown. My thoughts on some of these teams' paths on getting these wild card slots. And I didn't go too far into depth on what certain teams need to do to keep their spots, but maybe I'll get into that more on the next video. Because there'll be, as the season gets closer to wrapping up, there's more, teams will be mathematically eliminated. There'll be teams that clinch their spots. So, we'll see. But in any case, my name is Advance. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe on everything. Advance 110 on Instagram. Advance Sports Talk on Facebook. Advance Gaming on Facebook. Advance Plays or VMX 99.99 on YouTube. I'm out.